So basically what happened is a few Substacks and Twitter posts went up. By the way, that's also how you know that you're a really secure company.
Is really responding to the haters on like a kind of granular level.
Long live the posters.
Yeah. Is like you're not getting sort of like, because Muddy Waters doesn't exist anymore, if I remember correctly. Like Hindenburg doesn't exist anymore. The age of those kind of like big short sellers is kind of gone. And so now the only option is to become your haters' waiter at their table of envy and really scrutinize their order.
So what happened is Michael Burry, as well as another couple of skeptics, Jim Chanos is in this. Jim Dugod Chanos is in this as well, but he was mostly in the pages of the FT.
Guys that you heard of because they were played by a character actor you sort of recognize in either The Big Short or Margin Call.
Yeah. So Michael Burry, who was Christian Bale in The Big Short, Michael Burry played Christian Bale in the making of The Big Short, the documentary about the making of The Big Short. So basically, what he's done is he's written a blog post, a Substack, that lays out why he thinks Nvidia is hugely overvalued. And he makes two core arguments, one that we're going to talk about quite a bit more, and one that I think we can kind of leave aside. The one we can leave aside is that they basically fraudulently stated the value of the stock-based compensation that they were issuing.
Yeah, and to be clear, that's Christian Bale's argument in The Big Short, not our argument in The Big Short. We're not suggesting Nvidia is committing fraud because, frankly, that's a big word to use, fraud. And fraud, that requires, a degree of intention. And while, admittedly, every corporate leak of emails does have a bunch of guys going, loved doing crimes with you, thanks so much for the help with the crimes, that hasn't happened with Nvidia, so we can't say whether or not Nvidia is committing fraud. But also, it just seems less likely.
Yeah.
They don't need to.
And also the stock-based compensation argument he made was just off. It was the one like in this memo they put out that they quite articulately explained he was wrong on. And I'm actually kind of shocked. I think he kind of overplayed his hand, and then Nvidia went, no, sir, we can also do that. Watch this.
The two worst poker players in the game. 5 aces.
Fold.
No, 6 aces.
Oh, yeah? Well, I have 5 identical cards, and it's just the backs of the cards.
Instructions for playing stud poker. This is a Magic the Gathering cards.
Turning the card faces towards his opponents.
All red.
Speaking of all red, I mean, there is a part of me that wonders, like, is it a sign of a company's health that they're like, you know what, this guy who's a skeptic on a blog somewhere, we have to stop what we're doing. We have to stop the Infinity Semiconductor factory to respond and take our clothes off and scream at him. And it's like, what about this makes it such a priority? I mean, like,
he's not just a guy who was wrong. He's Christian Bale one time who was wrong.
That's the thing. I actually was having this conversation with an analyst who was saying, oh, well, this was meant to stay internal. This is a big analyst. I'm not going to say who, but it's just like, and their arguments, it was meant to stay internal. I'm like, it got sent to fucking Michael Burry. And he said, not really. I sent him the tweet. He goes, oh, and he didn't respond to me the rest of the night because it's so strange. I mean, putting aside the Enroniness of it, what the fuck is this? Who is this for?
Yeah, it's some sort of like internal vent Slack channel that's just named like get a load of this guy.
Well, my theory is that this is, as a PR professional, this is a client gone wild scenario. Every so often a client is like, well, I'm going to fucking say something. I'm going to say something. I'm going to go online and say something. And you're just like, no, don't do that. They said we're like Enron. No, Jensen, put the keyboard down, mate.
Arguably, it wasn't Jensen so much as the like leather jacket controlling his mind.
The Green Goblin situation, like we discussed.
We got about 20 minutes out of Jensen Huang's leather jacket on the last one because I've never seen him not wearing it, and I've never seen him wear even a different leather jacket. And so I'm just kind of looking at him thinking, if I take that thing off, will you die?
Yeah. Or if it gets taken off, will you suddenly snap into reality and beg not to be reinserted into the jacket?
So the jacket is basically like the Venom suit that Peter Parker brought back from a different dimension, and it's controlling him, but in the form of a very ugly jacket.
Jensen, we need to eat a chicken.
So basically, right? So Michael Burry's note also doesn't say the word, now correct me if I'm wrong, Ed,
Yeah.
I looked at this, doesn't say the word Enron.
Doesn't mention Enron
it
at
says
all.
Lucent and Cisco.
Yes,
and
very
WorldCom.
specific.
Yeah. And because Enron was like what Cisco did was not criminal. It was hugely reckless. It ended up sort of being a big sort of focal point of the .com crash. And a lot of that is to do with like creative accounting, let's say like financing your customers.
Yeah, but Enron was the emails, right? It was not just like we're going to hide the company's debt in a bunch of like special purpose vehicles, because that's legal to do, I guess. If you just name those, we have a lot of debt we're trying to hide, LLC or whatever the fuck. But what you can't do is put a bunch of your company's debt into those special purpose vehicles, not tell your investors, and then write a bunch of emails to each other going, hey, nice job defrauding our investors. That was what Enron was doing.
I just watched Michael Clayton yesterday, and great movie for bits in it where there's just like the whole thing hinges on memo. Yeah, we did the thing we claim we didn't do. Hey, should we have done this? Probably not. It's super illegal. It's a bad idea, I think.
Which is realistic, as we've learned.
No, it really is. Just like, because at this point, the whole thing, it's the obvious Streisand effect of it all, where it's like, I wasn't thinking that before. But now, before this, I would not have, for even a second, thought that they were Enron. Riley, we were talking about this, where it's like, they're not Enron. They're not doing anything close to what Enron's doing. I hope. Because before this point, I would have said with my whole chest, like, there's no way they were doing that. Now I'm like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that you denied it that specifically. It's weird that was your first pull as well.
Walking into a room being like, yeah, I haven't shat my pants recently.
I don't know, but you're all pretty quiet about whether or not you're Enron or have been pants shitters. Maybe we should look at all of you.
Yeah.
So specifically, the memo said, unlike Enron, Nvidia does not use special purpose entities to hide debt and inflate revenue. We're not specifically employing Ken Lay and Jeff Skilling.
Yeah, you'll notice our logo is quite different, even though they both start with an N sound. They're, different companies, different offices as well, geographically distant locations.
So let's talk about the other claim that Burry makes. And this is the one that I think is probably more relevant and useful. And that is sort of, we're expanding on something we've touched on before, which is he has said that the valuation of Nvidia and the valuation of a lot of Nvidia's customers that are accumulating huge amounts of assets, although Ed, we'll talk about this in a minute, it's becoming very clear that a lot of graphics cards are just sitting in warehouses and there's no onset financial to like do a sale and lease back of them, that this is the case, and that the values of these assets, not just for Nvidia, but for Meta, Google, for private companies like OpenAI, they're massively overstating their value because they're saying, okay, well, these are never going to depreciate. And there was a chart that is in Burry's newsletter that I think is pretty useful. It's from the company filings themselves, which is, here's how we've calculated the depreciation curve, which is like, how long does it take for this graphics card to become worth $0, basically, either from being burnt out or just from being made obsolete or whatever, is that in 2020, Meta, Google, Oracle, Microsoft, Amazon was like roughly between like 3 and 4 years mostly. Oracle was 5. They said it was a little longer. But then something happens in 2023 and 4, which is these numbers start jumping. All of a sudden, as of 2025, Meta says it's 5.5 years, Google 6, Oracle 6, Microsoft 6, Amazon 5. They have, in some cases, doubled the amount of time that they take to depreciate a GPU, even though GPU, like, that hasn't materially changed how quickly GPUs depreciate. If anything, it's faster because they're coming up with new ones more quickly.
Yeah, it's not like an architecture change. It's just that's a financial change.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's crazy is, over time, GPUs have been run hotter and required more power and thus been in more peril. It's just a really weird thing that they did. Like,
it's a sort of a great thing to announce, though, as if you're like, my problems are 5 years away. Well, actually, I've investigated more closely and I found out that my problems are 6 years away. And instantly, at the stroke of a pen, my problems are a year further away than they were. And investors are credulous enough to be like, yeah, absolutely, sounds good to us.
Yeah.
It's very funny, like as a tech company, to sort of, after spending so long making products that are designed to be destroyed within like a year or 2 years because of an upgrade, to suddenly be like, oh yeah, we've actually made a new piece of technology which is designed to last for longer, and you should just trust us on that.
And it runs hot all the time, 100% of the time, even when it's not on.
So basically, like all of these companies are saying we have to run these, basically made of oily rags pieces of computing infrastructure.
And crucially, they need infinite electricity forever, to the point that Sam Altman has started talking about. He's doing compute is to computing power. He started calling electricity electrons.
I'm so fucking sick of this guy.